Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrines Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Albert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. And this one is entitled Pit Boss, the Black Cracker. So we're going to get into the meaning of this, the understanding of this, the concept. And we got the brother with us, so ain't no use of, hesitating. Gonna let him get into his presentation. And so, Pit Boss, you got the mic now.
What's up with you this morning, Israel Doctrine? You know, this is kind of like half presentation, just half conversation, because this information that I'm kind of presenting is somewhat from a book that I'm writing. So, you know, I'm gonna give you a little bit of it just to let people kind of get a context and what we mean when we say the black cracker, or, you know, if you hear somebody referencing that, but, you know, they really don't understand the history of it, or, you know, where the term really come from. So I'm gonna establish that. I'm gonna show a few people who would be an example of a black cracker. And we all like, if you consider yourself a little hood, then you would be somewhat have some black cracker in you. So it's not necessarily, it's considered derogatory, but we just give it different words, and we ain't looking at it when we change the word. Like if I say, oh, I got that thug life, you know, you ain't really tripping off that. But in actuality, I'm gonna get you to the history and roll you up to the understanding to what people refer to as ghetto and shit like that, and connect that with the black cracker, and just show you how this term evolved. And that's pretty much what the book I'm writing is about, you know, the evolution of that. So, you know, I'm gonna show you different things. I'm gonna talk a little bit about where I come from, since, you know, I have some niggas try to tell me I'm irrelevant, some fake shit like that. And then you got niggas who think they made it in life, and hanging around folks I grew up with, niggas I can get on the phone, and, you know, I'm talking about a little bit of stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know, what should I start? Should I start with just telling a little bit about a couple of my connections? It's a popular guy today, go by the name of B Dot. You know, he from my neighborhood. I'm not pretty much, I didn't grow up with him, Carl. You know, we about 20, you know, about 10, 15 years apart in age. So, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't there in my era. He was just a little boy, but I know his daddy, his folks. And we from the same city, so we had the same similar experiences just growing up in that region.
Well, tell us about where you was basically raised at. And I guess that's to be the perfect start.
Okay. Well, you know, I come out of California, Los Angeles, a little city known in that region as Pacoima, California, and it's in the valleys. It's probably about, you know, 15, 20 minutes from Hollywood, what we call the San Fernando Valley. And my city, Pacoima, this is an area like in the 1950s. You know, they had segregation laws when you moved to California. Most of us came from the South, you know, Mississippi, Texas, you know, all through the South. A lot of people was migrating to Los Angeles because they had some type of employment going on. So, you know, a lot of people came there. And then when you got there, if you was in the city area, they had certain areas that they allowed black people to live in. So you may have went towards East LA, or the suburb area of Compton. And if you happen to go towards the valley where I was from, the city of Pacoima was the area that they allowed you to move to. And so based on these segregated type laws, my city became populated with about 10, 20,000 black people in that region in the 50s. Then into the 60s, they had established themselves, and it was like a nice little economy. You know, black folks was owning shops and various things. Then, you know, you had that Black Panther era. And then coming into the 70s, you know, I hit the planet. Now I'm growing up, a little kid, right? And going into the 80s, the crack epidemic smashed down on black folks. And my city became a nucleus for the crack gang, for all types of different variation attacks that they would have on black folks. And so if you're familiar with the era of crack, California was a major distribution state for crack worldwide. The crack may have came in through Mexico, it might have came in through Florida, but that shit ended up in Los Angeles. And then through the gang evolution, the drugs would spread across the nation. And so my particular city, they had a thing called the Batarang. And with the Batarang, they would knock down houses. You probably seen the Batarang in the movie about Compton that, you know, Ice Cube and them put out. They showed the Batarang, but the first use of it happened in my neighborhood. And, you know, I did a little documentary on my neighborhood that you can find on Facebook. It's called Pacoima the Documentary. It's just like a Facebook page where I narrate some of the stuff that happened. I got all kind of little posts on there, but, you know, things like that. So that was the 80s. That was my time of growing up. So I'm going to just play you a little clip. I guess it's cool if I share my screen. It doesn't matter if I show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, just for this is B-Dot. B-Dot had put a little rap album. Now, you know, I'm just giving a little promotion to him. Now, the brother then told me, you know, he elevated from this position because he put this song out probably like 10 years ago. So, you know, I'm not advocating that he feel this particular way at the time. You know, he's more on elevation now. But at this time, coming out the valley, you know, you just have a natural love for your city. And so he put this song out. I'll just play a few minutes of it, Carl. And you can see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so this is B-Dot, y'all, coming up out of Pacoima, California.
Rich rapper, just well off, and I still keep it G. I bust a shell off in the valley, nigga. You where you from? I don't really give a fuck, cause I'm the valley boy. The valley boy. If you want to talk shit about my town, you can come and catch my fade in the valley boy. The valley boy. I'm so west side, my chucks is the business. So west coast with my national spit it. So lyrical MCs come get it. So hands up, all the ladies wanna hit it. So fresh to death that they ain't dash jealous. And fuck the rap industry, ain't shit you can tell us. Fuck the labels, we so rebellious. Boss gang bangers, we is not fellas. It's my birthday, I have the cake. You niggas demons in disguise like Pastor Mints. So stay gritty on my grind like Pastor Troy. Stay knee deep in dirt like them Georgia boys. But I still get fresh like Andre 3 stacks. And still got rockets like I know T-Mac. I'm not from the city, niggas, this is C-Pack. Town in the 818, that's where the G's at. Valley, nigga, you where you from? I don't really give a fuck, cause I'm the valley boy. The valley boy. If you want to talk shit about my town, you can come and catch my fade in the valley boy. The valley boy. You can catch me on the 118 West to go holla at some B's. On the 118 East to go kick it with my G's. Finna blow trees, cause Dodo got the dodo sack with DB. And I ain't talking about no quarterback, just real ball. Valley boy, get it in. Headed to the city to go crack a nigga bitch again. I show her on the boss if she doubt me. Bring it to the valley, she ain't used to all the mountains. She ain't know that the valley had power rooms. Crip niggas and essays ride too. She looking around surprised like this the slums. I got a big crib, but that's in the 6-1. This the valley where I grew up at. With a 2-1 gang sign still up back. Where the sickest niggas from, where the richest niggas from. Talking shit, that's the quickest way to get a nigga done in the valley, nigga. Yeah. Dedicated to all you punk ass DJs that don't fuck with the valley boys. 818 niggas, we got spirits out here. Well, shit. Not really, but mainly me. A1 representative, nigga. You know what I'm saying? All you city niggas throwing y'all little comments. I'm fuck with the city, my nigga. But y'all need to fuck with us, man. Respect some shit, you know what I mean? Valley niggas. You know you bum ass, whack ass niggas talking about y'all the king of the A1A. Yeah, alright, nigga. You just a rapper, homie. The real kings of the A1A's moving weight. Body of niggas and shit. You niggas be playing, man. Young B-Dot though. Representative of the A1A, bitch boys.
All right, so I'm gonna show you one more because this other cat coming up, Carl, is my little homie. You call him Whack 100. You know, in the music industry, so like he game manager, he's Ray J's manager and shit like that. And you know, in the New York area, one of his partners is Kay Slay. So, you know, when Kay Slay came to the West Coast, you know, the New York niggas try to find somebody that's from the streets with it, that can kind of, you know, catch their back a little bit, keep that West Coast heat off your line. And so, you know, this is a point where my little homie Whack 100 is taking Kay Slay throughout Los Angeles. This particular point, they're out there in Long Beach. And I'm just playing a little bit of the clip.
I'm out here with the homies from the beach. Yeah, Kay Slay. Last time I took you to the right side. On the west, y'all know what that means. Now we on the left side. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's riders on sides. You can't respect the next motherfucker's gangster. Don't respect yours. Bottom line, period, point blank. But when we walking in them county jails and them penitentiaries, niggas know what I'm talking about, homie. We top mamas together, we back to back, chopping them together. Then we got the chopping with the survival in there. We're gonna be black first and foremost for anything. We're gonna respect everybody's tribe, man. You know what I'm saying? Once again, how many of you New York niggas gonna fight that Taliban 3,000 miles and come out here to the gut? You know what I'm saying? Niggas been trying to put it on my nigga back, slay of blood and all that. I'm from Powell, I just happen to be his nigga. Slay fucking with the West and the West fucking with Slay. Period. Now we over here with the Crips. We over here in Long Beach.
East side. On the east side of Long Beach, though. You feel me?
There's a respect gang on both sides. How many of you niggas gonna come out here? We don't even talk about you rap niggas. We gonna talk about you DJ niggas. How many of you niggas got the pass because you show them respect in them airways in the streets? Yeah. Come out here with these vultures. That's what we talking about, my nigga. Like I said, Kay Slay, we look for the Long Beach Lord. Y'all get a mixtape together for us. You know what I'm saying? Get J-Dog with Blue. Kay Slay gonna host that motherfucker. We gonna get him love back.
Keep them alive.
They on PCH, the king, my nigga.
He knows. The right side, you that, baby. That's me. So, 100. Yeah, real. Give some more. Give some more.
Okay, let me stop this screen sharing real quick. And let's see. I'm still, did it stop, Carl?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see me again?
Logo, yes.
That's what's happening. So, you know, I'm just putting that out there just to give you like a feel. You know, I could keep going. I got so much shit coming out my neighborhood. So many football players, rappers, real niggas, gangsters, thugs, G's, people I grew up with. I'm definitely well known within my neighborhood. Everybody I'm showing you, I can get on the phone in an instant. The little homie running around there with the meal ticket money in that rap game. So, you know, I've been around a long time, and I've been doing my own thing in my own way for years. I left California, moved to Atlanta long ago in the 90s, came out here. I done had restaurants, trucking companies, clubs, all types of shit. Since I've been doing my thing, it eventually evolved into filming and stuff like that. I done shot movies. I done had facilities where you know, I let people come in and film their stuff, you know, give parties, all that type of thing. And then, you know, through the whole process, I've always been one, you know, reading books, keeping myself intellectually building on various information. And so, you know, by the time I popped up over here on your channel, Carl, I was just chilling. I was just having some fun. I wasn't really tripping. I wasn't trying to become a star in this conscious community thing. I was just, you know, participating. I never had no ambition to be one of the top speakers speaking on things. But, you know, as you know, I brought Hashim Nzinga on your platform. I've been rolling with him for about 3 years, filming, helping him get the word out on the various issues that concern his organization. You feel what I'm saying? Before that, I'm running with Dungeon Family, Rico Wade, Ray Murray, my homie Side Street Kid, my nigga Big Vision. I could just keep going, Carl. I could just keep going. I could just keep throwing names. Goody Mob. I know these people. I got all types of, I've been in the studio 10, 12 years sitting in there rocking hard with them. My partners, headquarters recording. If you hit Atlanta, I mean, it just go on. Duct tape niggas. I done went out there with the duct tape filming. You know, I don't necessarily have to agree with every person I work with perspective. You know, like you and I, we don't have the same biblical perspective completely. We got different views, but never do I sit here arguing with you about how you look at something. You know, if we decide we want to debate a point, then I come on here and have a little fun with you and we go at it, you know, preterist versus the perspective you take. But that's just all in trying to understand people, educate people to, you know, maybe what information you have. I don't have no hatred towards a Kemetic view or a Moorish view or a Muslim view. You know, so when we debate, it's just to have fun with educating and trying to figure out where people are coming from.
Yeah, I would have to agree that when I was talking to King Malachi that day, and it was like, let me put these two on the phone with each other. He said he know him, and he verified, like, is this so-and-so? And I was like, yep, them niggas know each other.
Right, yeah, like King Malachi, you know, I've been knowing King Malachi for like 10 years, easy. I mean, he's part of the Dungeon Family brand. Well, he used to be. He kind of went off and did his own thing, built his own little brand, but he got his start with Rico Wade. So, you know, I didn't shot videos for him. I got stuff on my channel, me and Malachi out there filming, and he just one of about 50 rappers that make up Dungeon Family. You feel me? So I know all them rappers. I know them rappers before they started recording songs, when they just used to come in the studio, you know, listening to beats and getting ready to, you know, get their game in. So, you know, since I've been in Atlanta, I got my own little crew of different people I done developed with and built with, you know what I'm saying, that makes up Pit Boss Entertainment, Pit Boss Trucking, Pit Boss, all types of shit. So the digital Pit Boss is just the latest version of something I'm doing and continuing on what I always been doing. Pit Boss been in the game since the 90s with the Pit Boss brand. So, you know, people call me by different names, which I ain't gonna go through all them names. But, you know, if you listening or you run across Pit Boss, they know that, but then they also know me personally. So, you know, I often get sci-fi because I changed the Facebook page to sci-fi. And people who met me on Facebook, they like to call me that. That's cool. I ain't tripping, but it's just a name. It didn't really have, you know, too much significance to anything. But you might know me a different way if you're from California. You might know me another way if you're from Atlanta. It just depends on at what point in time you met me to what you might know about me. You know what I'm saying? So when I come on here, I just be having fun, man. You know, I am from the streets. I did get raised up in Pacoima. All them little dudes I'm showing, them my little homies. Them ain't niggas that came up to me and put me on, but, you know, they like to express that. Like, especially my homie Lil Wack 100. If you go Google him and see all the shit he get into, that's just like my little homie. That's not a nigga that raised me or put me on to some gangster shit or no shit like that. Like, I'm probably at least 6, 7 years older than him. So when he was a little boy coming up in the hood, it was like, you know, I'm just watching him develop. I'm already in the hood. I'm already ripping and running going through these chambers. And, you know, if you know anything about the 1980s, when it came to the streets, that was probably about the sickest time to be in LA, when that gangbang shit was at its height. And, you know, I particularly never got myself caught up in having to rep no shit, but I was from an area where wherever I went, say I'm in Compton, and some niggas want to ask me where I'm from, as soon as I say Pacoima, it's already an issue, whether I'm from a gang or not, just by simply being from that area and being associated to the gang. In that way, you already got a problem. So, you know, the way we grew up, it was just like, well, whatever, what you want to do with it. You feel me? So elevating from that type of level to the days where, you know, I'm sitting here talking to some old bitch ass nigga calling me irrelevant, making me out to be like some sucker, or testing me, talking about nigga gonna beat me up. I'm laughing because the way I had to get here, you know what I'm saying, to be who I am today, I definitely had to let niggas know that you put your hands on me, I'm going in on you. And most of the times I'm dealing with some gangbanger mentality with a different kind of elevation to how they like to get at you. But I don't like to spread the violence. I don't like to bring violence upon people. But just, you know, the way I had to grow up, you had to be about that life if need be. And, you know, I could easily go call my homies up and see what type of nigga want to play them games with me. And, you know, that ain't what they want to do. So in that sense, you know, let me talk a little bit about this Black Cracker, since that's the topic of the show, right? So on here, I'm gonna share my screen with you, because I'm gonna go to, you know, I'm just using a few little Wikipedia pages and a couple of other things and kind of narrate what the Black Cracker is in that sense. So first, before you get the Black Cracker, you have to first get the cracker. And the cracker is where the Black Cracker would learn to be a Black Cracker. So I'm gonna share my screen with you again, Carl. And just so they can read along with what I'm doing, right? So this is a Wikipedia page called the Georgia Cracker, right? And I just highlighted a particular box. You able to see that, Carl?
Yeah.
Okay. So it says the term cracker was used during the Elizabethan times to describe the braggarts, or the original root of this is used in Middle English word crack, meaning entertaining conversation. One may be said to crack a joke. A witty remark is a wisecrack. This term is a Gaelic spelling crack. Are also used in Ireland and Scotland. It is documented in the Shakespeare's King James 1595 what the cracker is, that defies the errors with this abundance of superfluous breath. So basically what they're saying is that the cracker is kind of like a white person who is braggadocious and wisecracking, loud talking, what we would term like, you know, white trash, or the lower level white boy. It wasn't necessarily referred to like a distinguished, you know, uppity type of white person. They would have been more like an aristocrat. But for the lower level among white folks, they referred to that loud, boisterous, ghetto kind of white person as a cracker. And it wasn't a term that they even really took offensive, as Ireland and Scotland, which would be like the red hair white boy who lived in the Appalachian Mountains, that we refer to as a redneck. That kind of person, just based on characteristics of being braggadocious and loud talking and poor and various things like that, they just referred to him as a cracker, right? So now, starting in 1595, I'm gonna flip over to the actual play. So, you know, this is a King John play that they referred to in the Elizabethan time, and when they referred to Shakespeare in 1595. And the play is called King John II, and there's a few characters. One is called Bastard, Austria, Blanche, and they're having a little conversation, and this is where the term is going to be referred to. So I'm just reading this just to document the term, and then I'll get into something else. But it begins off, it says, and I'm starting here, if y'all can see this, let me see if I can highlight this. Okay, yeah, I'll highlight the little part I'm going to read.
Blow it up a little bit and make it a little wider if you could.
Okay, I'm not sure if I can. Well, yeah, it won't let me really blow it up, Carl, without, wait, let me see. Yeah, it won't let me do that on this one.
Okay.
But I'll just read it to you real quick. But it says, Austria starts off saying, "What the devil art thou?" Bastard replies, "One that will play the devil, sir, with you. And he may catch your hide and you alone. You are the hair of whom the proverb goes, whose valor plucks dead lions by the beard. I'll smoke your skin coat and I'll catch you right, Sarah. Look to if I will, I faith." Blanche replies, "Oh, well, did he become the lion that robbed? Did they disrobe the lion of the robe?" Bastard replies, "It lies slightly in the back of him, a great Alcide shoe upon an ass. But ass, I'll take the burden from your back, or lay on that shall make your shoulders crack. What cracker in this saying that defies our errors?" So now what's happening is this particular character, Bastard, if you following along with the play, you already knowing his characteristics. And he's kind of like braggadocious. He's everything that the description lays. He's, like a poor type of fellow that they say in the play. And, he's very loud. So he's cracking jokes. He's doing the characteristics of the word. And so right there in that one line, it says, "What cracker is this saying that deafs our ear?" Meaning that we hear you, and he's referring to him as the cracker. So now, of course, because this is a Shakespeare play, at that time all the way to now, that particular word became very popular. So if you imagine slavery kicking in, the white folks coming over to America, Africans coming off the boat, and Indians and whoever's here, when they became in slavery, they had to go from speaking their native tongue and their native ways of acting into learning English. And they weren't allowed to really rise up to the top level of an aristocrat type of white person. And they were being, pretty much supervised by the cracker, being that he wasn't the rich among the white, he worked for the rich. So their personality and their tone of speech would be more like the one that they're working with, which would be the cracker. So ultimately, when the boss came around, who was some aristocrat, real rich, he don't act like that, but he don't want you acting like him, as if it was like if he figured out that you were intelligent, you were reading, you'll get whipped. That was illegal for the slave to learn. And so his characteristics and style of speech mimic more the cracker. And thus, he became the black cracker, a low-level black person, loud, boisterous, those types of attributes. So as that attribute would start to play itself out over time, of course, we got names like Negro, nigger, and all of that stuff along with it. But that attribute applied to the low-level white person and to the slave-type black person at the time. So then somewhere in, I'll say the late 1900s, they come up with a baseball team called the Atlanta Black Crackers, right? This is the logo right here, Carl. The Atlanta Black Crackers, just to show you this personality type moving through history, right? So I just read a little bit about, their thing that they became in. It says the Black Cracker joined the minor league Negro Southern League in March 1920. Their uniform, bats, baseball, and other supplies were donated by their white Southern associate counterparts, the Atlanta Crackers. So the white folks got a baseball team called the Atlanta Crackers. They create the Atlanta Black Crackers. So now the team played their home games at Ponce de Leon Park, along with the white Atlanta Crackers. However, the Black Crackers were not allowed to play at the Ponce de Leon Park when the Crackers had a home game. The Black Crackers were then forced to play either at Morehouse College or Morris Brown College, right? So now you got the term coming from Shakespeare in 1595, working his way through slavery, being associated with the poor white person, the redneck, the Southern Georgia cracker, the Florida cracker. These were the people that was out on the outback, out there in the wilderness, you know, taming the wild wilderness, building up the city, while the rich man, he only sending the money to start the, you know, to get the plantations going, build the houses out there so that he could come and move out there and, you know, start his slave plantation business, right? So, you know, now I got to, you know, shoot a little soft shot towards, you know, that brand over there that's real popular. So I'm gonna play a little excerpt to show you a modern day personality of what's really going on. So we got Dr. Reggie, Brother Reggie, HOK, and Red Pill. This is a moment where they, you know, they're arguing about something. We're gonna get into that real quick. I'm gonna let it play for a second.
Before you continue, don't ask me if I'm softening something, and I came to talk to you about what I'm saying is
Okay, then
that
tell
this
me.
is history that already happened.
Okay, so
and
you're
we
a
spoke
scholar
about that.
Well, I don't listen. Our people don't know this. That's why we having a conversation.
Our people don't know this.
No, our people don't know who
Well, our
Almator
people-
is.
Our people,
They didn't watch
if
this
our
DVD.
people want to
Okay.
study,
No,
hold
no.
on,
So,
brother. Let me talk.
Because this is my lecture. I don't interrupt you on your lecture. I don't interrupt you on your lecture.
No, because this nigga's screaming in my face.
I'm not a nigga. I'm not a nigga.
This dude is screaming in my
I'm not.
face.
I'm your brother. I'm not. So I'm not your brother.
Why is you screaming in my face?
Because you're coming over here. You were screaming in my face when you came over here.
I didn't.
You put your hand up the
Fuck
face.
these people watching this out.
It ain't in our streets. It ain't in the streets.
The DVD is in the streets. It's out.
People don't know about it. People don't know about it.
You don't know about
I'm gonna give you. Check this out. In my debate.
If it's all of these
No.
DVDs out here with all this information, if you didn't watch every single one, what the fuck is you talking
I don't
about?
have to watch. I'm an independent researcher because I look at things differently than you do. I look at things differently than you.
Out, and
That is a minor point. Our people don't know about this. That's why they come into the debate. They come into the debate to see the actual facts. Now, you can address them, and you can say, well, Brother Reggie, that didn't happen, or Brother Reggie, I see it this way. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say,
I actually came over here and agreed with you, and I said that yes, that did happen, that they had the Black Guard, that they had a bunch of eunuchs, that they had a bunch of vassals, that the Ottoman
what are you going to do
Empire...
about it more? What are you going to do about it more? Do you educate our children?
I'm here
Do you educate our children about what we should do about them? Do you see them as our friends, or do you see them as our enemies?
All right, so first of all, the Ottoman Empire fell, right? The fucking Turks are in Egypt, motherfucker. That's who runs Egypt right now. What are you gonna do about it? That's the Turks.
Telling the truth.
That's the Turks.
I am telling the truth.
You talk about what
I am telling the truth.
You was in Egypt. What did you do to them?
We ran a conference. We took 1,000. We took an army
What
there.
did you do to them?
We took an army there.
What did you do to them?
Educate
What
our
did you
people
bring
and take
back?
back our culture.
So what did you bring back?
We
With your
brought
army?
back the truth.
What's the truth?
We brought back the truth.
Egypt, the Turks are
From
still
the
running
time
Egypt.
period. Wait. You're talking about what I did. What did you
What
do?
am I gonna do
what
about
did you
the
do?
fact? Hold on, you said
I went to Egypt with 1,000 people
what
in
am I
the
gonna
army.
do? And what did your army
We
do?
spent $1 million
You was a fucking
there.
tourist.
No, we weren't a tourist.
What did you
Dr.
do
Big
there?
wasn't a tourist.
You
Dr.
went there as
Clark
a
wasn't a
tourist with your
tourist.
army.
Dr. Jeffries
What
wasn't
did
a
you do?
tourist. Dr. Asa Hilliard wasn't a tourist. See,
So
that's how.
what did you
This
bring
is
back?
how.
What did you bring back?
Brother Red Pill.
What did you bring
This
back?
is how you disrespect our
What
elders.
did you bring back? What
Right?
did you bring back?
We brought back primary evidence that Nile Valley African people were African.
Okay, and that's
That they
all.
were black.
But you said that you went over there with an army.
But where did you go?
something.
Did you go to Morocco?
Huh?
Did you go to Morocco?
Look, I'm in these streets.
No, yeah, you
Hold on. I'm in these.
See, that's how you.
Hold on. Because you asked me a question, I'm going to address you. I'm in these fucking streets. Okay? That's what I'm doing. My feet is in it. Y'all can take you anywhere in New York. I can take you anywhere in America, and they know my face for the work that I do. So don't ask me about what I came and did. I came and I'm doing the work.
You don't see the difference of 1,000 people going to Africa. You don't see the difference of 1,000 people, a scholarship army going to Africa to take back the Nile civilization, and you want to minimize it to what you're doing on the streets.
I'm not minimizing anything, because what I'm doing,
All right, you want to maximize it. What you're doing on the streets.
What I'm doing on the streets is a global thing, brother. What I'm doing on the streets is being felt around the world. When I go to Morocco, hold on, because you're like, what did I go to Morocco and do? What am I going to go to Morocco and do? The Ottoman Empire had vassals in 1600, and in 1500, what the fuck you talking about? I'm going to go to Morocco in 2016 and do something in Morocco.
You know what you're going to see in Morocco? You're going to see slavery in Morocco. You're going to see slavery in Mauritania. You're going to see African slavery. And you know what? You're not going to be able to stand it. You're not going to be able to stand what you see there.
Look, I can't stand slavery in America.
Okay, so, but it's there. It's there.
It's slavery in America. Niggas is in jail. What are you doing about it? It's slavery in the fucking streets. It's sex slaves in Atlanta right now. They selling women. It's sex slaves going on right in Harlem, brother. Do you know about that? Do you know about those black doors where you pay $30 and go and have sex with fucking little girls? You know about Backspace? So it's slavery all over the place. And anytime I see slavery, I can't stand it anywhere that I go. So if going to Mauritania or if going to Morocco is going to turn my stomach, God damn it, it's turning my stomach in Harlem, because I know what's going on to our people.
So let's tell the truth about it. Let's tell the whole truth about it. Let's just not minimize or maximize it to our own personal situation. When I say 1,000 people, Dr. Milana Karene, Dr. Ben, Dr. Asa Carruthers, Dr. Joseph Benjo Cannon, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, right? Some of our best scholars went to Kemet to show the world we know that Nile Valley is African, right? That is a major feat that anyone can say that happened. And through that, from that period, 1986, there have been hundreds of books with primary information, letting our people know. Now we know how to read the Medu Neter. We could go into museums as if it was just like air, right?
The museums is holding the artifacts that you
That's
appreciate
correct.
them for holding the artifacts, right?
That's correct.
That's
I
not
appreciate
considered
it.
a crime.
You know why?
That's not Tomb Raiders.
You know what? But there's much more in Africa. That's only a little bit.
I'm talking about, no.
But
I'm
if
talking
it
about-
wasn't here,
I'm talking about
if it wasn't here, I couldn't teach.
Exactly.
I couldn't teach it.
So, yeah.
I couldn't teach it.
I'm gonna stop it right there, Carl. Let me see. Try to get this screen off real quick. All right. So what I'm displaying right there is we got these teachers. We all like that. Carl, you like that. I'm like that. You know, a lot of us like that. We see these personalities. They loud, they boisterous. That's what happened to us coming into slavery. We had to take on this black cracker mentality. We call it being thug, being from the ghetto, keeping it hood. You know, we changed the word so it's something that we could, you know, identify with, not feel so bad about what they did to us. You know, when you look at the African people in their own culture and environment, they don't quite act the way we do in that sense. And so they wouldn't have any context of a black cracker mentality. That's something that you have to create from a slavery type of condition, or you got to go hang around somebody that's a cracker, that's talking loud, boisterous, and then pick up their attributes. And then by default, you become like them. So in that way, when we say black cracker, from that perspective, we're talking about the loud and boisterous kind of person. You know, it's funny when I watch Sarah Sutiseti. You know, he real comical about how he presents his information, and he kind of entertaining. But he loved to say, "Let's bang on the beats, fuck that cracker." At the whole time he yelling, "Fuck that cracker," it's like your whole expression is the black cracker. You acting like the person that you calling out, but yet they don't understand the history and the meaning of the word. So then when we see the black person who gets an education and we say, "Oh, he kind of a square," right? Well, he removed that black cracker personality, and then he took on the aristocrat personality. So he talks a little more proper. So I'm gonna play a little excerpt from one of my favorite authors and let you hear his personality, because he also wrote about the redneck. He go by the name of Thomas Sowell, and he's in a little interview. And let me just play a little of the audio for you, just to let you hear his tone.
Expectations? Is this the thing?
No. The expectations are external. The culture in which they grew up with was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America today.
So they had
There's no gangster rap that was pervasively available in Germany.
So here's what I'm getting. There is something about black subculture in America today that holds African Americans themselves back.
Yes. In fact, I went into this in a previous book, which about black rednecks and white liberals, because that same subculture.
Let's talk about two of your books here. Go ahead.
Because that very same subculture held whites in the South back as well. That in the time this mental testing in the First World War turned up, among other things, the fact that whites from various 4 or 5 southern states scored lower on the mental test than blacks from 4 or 5 northern states. And so it really was a question of the subculture that was there, which was a handicap to both.
All right. And so whose job is it to say, wrong subculture, folks, you're harming yourselves?
Well, I would think in an ideal world that intellectuals might take on that task. But the world that we live in, I've noticed, is not ideal.
All right. What is to be done? Take a look at President Lyndon Johnson speaking at Howard University in 1965.
Oh, yes.
But freedom is not enough. You do not wipe away the scars of centuries by saying now, you are free to go where you want and do as you desire and choose the leaders you please. You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bringing up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others, and still justly believe that you have been completely fair.
It's pathetic. It's not a question of, there's no you who has the control to be completely fair or completely unfair. I mean, the circumstances are, so someone once criticized the mental tests on grounds that the tests were unfair. And I think it was David Reisman who said, the tests are not unfair. Life is unfair, and the tests are measuring the results. But who has control of life? Who has control of the past? Who has control of the culture that people have in the present, which they've inherited from the past?
Well, so what Thomas Sowell is sitting there and talking about in the interview is he also got into the history. He kind of references the black cracker, not the black cracker, but like the black redneck intellectuals and behavior. So, I built some of my perspective from reading Thomas Sowell books and understanding, what he was talking about. I decided I would go a little further into some other directions that he didn't go to build my narrative. And so, understanding personality types, understanding that when we call ourselves, I'm from the hood, what you're really saying is you're from a personality type and a culture set that was developed in slavery by means of the cracker, who was the only person you were allowed to become like and be accepted into the white society once you began to speak English and, operate. That's why in the movies times you see the black cracker image with the big eyes and yes, a massa, no, some massa, that type of speech. That was the rhetoric, or that was the personality type given to the black cracker. And it just, like I say, in 1920, obviously the word cracker was still being used among white people, as they had a team called the Atlanta Crackers. an all-white team. Nobody must have not been offended at the time by that term. But as things evolved, the word cracker started to become negative. White people dropped relationship with the word black folk.
Let me ask you a question. Did it become negative because it showed the relationship of poverty between the black cracker and the white cracker?
Well, it more became negative among white folks because they had to elevate into like middle class America. So you trying to get rid of a stereotype. It's like when a black man needs to go get a job, you're from the hood, but your mama tell you, hey, boy, when you go get that job, you need to cut your hair. You need to speak proper English. Don't be acting real hood or they'll recognize you a black cracker and they're not going to hire you. So the same with the white man. He had to get rid of that lower level white trash personality. You feel me? When you see someone like Eminem, he did what black people do. He expressed his white trash, white cracker personality and embraced it. And so he considered hood for white folks. You know what I mean? His storyline, his mama was on drugs, stuff like that. He grew up in poverty. That's the white cracker. That's how they grew up. So he would be a true white cracker who wouldn't have a problem letting you know he a white cracker. The same way somebody from the hood, like my little homie Wack 100 or B Dot or anybody I grew up with, they'd be like, yeah, nigga, I keep it hood. This thug life. Nigga, I'm a gangster and blah, blah, blah. These kind of attributes come from the mentality that we were forced to accept. Some of us elevate from it. Some of us embrace it and ball out, and we ain't got no problem being that way and go, so it's not, it could be looked upon negative by others, but the person who act that way might not feel negative about their personality. They may embrace it. So, it doesn't have to be negative. It's just that success in corporate America does not uplift the cracker personality or the black cracker personality. So if you want success acting that way, you got to build your own lane. So therefore, white folks moved into middle class America and got their shit together and stopped acting like a cracker in that sense. So now we just take the attribute and apply it to all white folks because we mad at them for oppression and white supremacy and the things that they do. So as a negative jargon, we just call them all crackers because we trying to belittle you, to break you down to the lowest form within your society, which would be the cracker. So we just say, fuck it, all of them are crackers. But the reality is among them, they had a reason why they called someone a cracker. And that was like that poor white trash, that loud, braggadocious personality type. So now here you see that being played out in this conscious community. Everybody in it seems to have the personality of a black cracker. They're not really coming to us with that distinguished. Now the older people, like somebody like Professor Smalls, or, he could sometimes pull out the cracker avenues, but mostly he more distinguished. He more presentable about his information, calm demeanor, that kind of thing. You feel me? But some of these other guys that come on the show, they got the hood mentality. Sarnetta always say he from the hood. He used to sell dope. He was running around. He was a black cracker. But then as he kind of got a little, your thing is echoing a little bit, but as people evolve, they trying to shape that negative behavior. They try to lose those attributes or at least referencing themselves in such a way. So, as to show a better side of themselves than the negative personality that we were forced to adopt. You feel me? And so this is why it kind of pissed people off from this comedic perspective, cats. Someone like Reggie come over here knowing that, brother, you're not really kicking the science all the way to the truth of the matter, to the level where you're understanding that, like they hate the Bible. They hate that premise. But there are people who were forced into certain types of conditions during this slave period, and they found sanctuary in certain kind of information that gave them the mind to build their way through it and develop themselves as a people. and have some dignity and respect for yourself. Once you build in dignity and respect, you start to lose negative attributes simply by having dignity for yourself. So, you know, I don't find it, we don't use the term black cracker. We just keeping it ghetto, keeping it hood. And you got some brothers from the hood who is some cool ass dudes, and they may have a hood personality trait, but yet they intellectual. They got some knowledge. So those types of people come at us in the form of a polite, in the form of a you know, the Uncle Cat, in the form of a Carl Albert, in the form of a pit boss. It's people who just, you know, we keeping it real about ourselves, but, you know, we got a little trait of the black cracker. So that's why, you know, it's just good to understand the history of how things evolved so that you can cite why we have certain behaviors. You feel what I'm saying? Why a person act the way they do. Because us being ghetto is not an African personality trait. It's not an indigenous Indian personality trait. It's something that we picked up being forced into a condition, and then we accepted it and made it part of ourselves. And now we've forgotten where it come from. And we think that we created this behavior. So when you hear rap music, that's mainly a bunch of black crackers who can rhyme. But they embraced it. And then they made it fashionable. They made it hip to be that. And then they put money along with it. So we glamorize the black cracker with gold, fly cars, fly speech, you know, got all the ladies, all that type of stuff. And we forgot that's not us. That's not who we are. That's not how we began. That's something we were forced to become. It wasn't the Bible that made us like that. It was a people who wanted to bring us to our lowest level possible. And they had to make us become like them. And when we did that, we lost our way. And now we're confused. And we're all running around here with these emotional baggage problems. As you see Red Pill, you know, if I'd have let that keep going, eventually they almost came to blows. You know, Sarnetta had to end the show because they about to set it off, because they have accepted the attribute into their emotional dispensation of a black cracker. But yet they don't know that they're that. They like to call other people that. You know, Sarnetta called in your show, called you a black cracker. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't realize that he's one. And he's just only trying to degrade you because he's mad at you. But I can say, hey, if you feel like you got some hood in you, well, goddamn it, you got some black cracker in you, because they installed it in you coming off that boat, and then it developed into other names. The etymology of keeping it hood derives from the cracker mentality. In 1595, Shakespeare identified that personality as a cracker, and then the understanding just went from there. So, you know, some of the cliches that people think the cracker come from is they think that the cracker, the whip, the slave master had a whip, and when he whipped the slave and they heard the sound of the crack, you know, they started dissociating the whip with the white man whipping them as the cracker. But that's not true. As I just showed you in a play from Shakespeare, 1595, they wasn't talking about no whipping slaves. They was talking about a personality type, right? Sometimes they related to the soda cracker, because, you know, they had this white cracker called a soda cracker, a saltine cracker. So they say, well, you like the white cracker. You know, that's things that kind of jumped on to the attachment of this word, but that don't go back far enough in order to be what the word was originally referring to. You see what I'm saying? So when you see a white man who don't act ghetto, who is kind of distinguished, mild mannered in aspect of keeping it 100, that's not a cracker. That's like an aristocrat. That's a distinguished man, as they call themselves, a distinguished gentleman. But when you see a white man that act like Eminem, keeping it hood, white trash, loud redneck from the South, riding around with that flag, screaming out nigger out the window. That's the cracker. That's the one that acts the way that Shakespeare pointed out in his play on the character Bastard. That's the cracker. So understanding that gives you a little more understanding of how the white people develop their own behavior and the type of behavior that they installed with the black folks. And so now, you know, we got all of these braggadocious ghetto hood mentalities who read some books and now they want to come forward, or they made a whole bunch of money or put out a rap album and now they're glorifying this personality trait. So the next generation that's listening to us on all these videos, thinking that Carl Albert got some knowledge, or thinking that Brother Reggie or Pit Boss or whoever they listening to, as they start to develop their knowledge, they may pick up that trait and be like, ooh, I'm gonna be like such and such. I want to be like Sarah Seti with my shit. And so he already in the hood. Now he done read a few books. Now he back on the scene, popularizing this attribute for another generation to come. But what we should be doing is trying to figure out, how did we act coming off the slave ship before we learned English, or before the white man encountered us? Because I'm also understanding that we were here before the slave ship as well. We was on the boat and we was on the land when the slave ship pulled up, as we had already been traveling back and forth to Africa and had many people here that was already established, but they still enslaved them too, and just threw you in the pot with the rest of them. So now you got local Africans who was already living here and Africans on that boat when they was living here, and the white man came and enslaved everybody. And then some of us is called Indian, some of us is called colored, some of us is called different things. And yet we all took this personality trait. So the only way to get out of the personality trait is to go amongst yourselves and create culture. That's why the barrier to the black man's mindset is by coming up with a culture that he can identify himself to, separate from what they installed in you. That's the reverse of the black cracker, is to create the African, or whatever attribute you want to call yourself, a Moor, to become a Moor, to become something different in attribute. But if you take this black cracker mentality into your Moorish paradigm, or your Islam paradigm, or your Christian paradigm, you are only fueling what they installed in you in your slave era. And thus, this is why I'm writing the book. This is, I mean, now in my book, I really go at it. Like, I don't even want to show you my notes or go into, I'm just giving you some lightweight pinpoints so that you can understand where I'm coming from. But in the book, and I'm not trying to rush to put the book out. I don't care if the book come out this year, next year. It's not important to me. I don't even care if I never publish it. And, you know, my kid publish it 20 years from now. When they find a hold of what I've already started writing and compiling, I want it to be descriptive. I want you to understand this point thoroughly. I want you to know that if you continue down this path of black cracker, you are perpetuating the ideology that white folks installed in you when they found you in America, you know, in slavery. That's how it is. So, you know, that's a little history, man, on the black cracker. You got your mic muted, Carl, if you not knowing.
Yeah, to keep the echo back. So, I mean, do you got more to present?
I mean, you know, I can, you know, I can keep going, but, you know, I think, I don't know how you feel. Do you feel like something I didn't touch? Do you seem like it's clear the point I'm trying to make, or how you feeling?
Well, you got some people in the chat and stuff. They trying to chime in, and they talking about, I guess you seen it, because I know you do watch the chat sometime, that, you know, talking about the cracking of the whip and how that.
I could see the chat, so. You know.
Yeah. So then you got another one said black crackers go be, I guess it was beyond talking hood, and true black cracker is a Negro who hates his people and wants to identify with the white man. So is this where you see, you know, the educational scholarship that we see in the community, also with people saying, well, I'm a scholar and I deal with scholarly work and I talk from this perspective, not from the black cracker or the Negro perspective or the, you know, ebonics and stuff, that I'm more well schooled, which Nearly Fuller call it show-offism. It's just like, you're a good monkey. Yes, you did good to learn our language so well and, you know, assimilate in high society.
Well, you know, a black cracker is a behavior. It's a way of acting. It has nothing to do with how you're going to use that behavior. You could use that behavior to fight for your people. You could use that behavior to fight against your people. So it's not related to a person who hate their people. You know what I'm saying? That's what we modern day use the terminology for. So if you're asking about how is the terminology used, then I'll agree. Yeah, people relate the black cracker to black people who are hating on their people, cooning. So you say, well, the coon is the black cracker. Yes, that's what you evolve the word to mean. But we're not talking about the evolution. That's where the current understanding is. We're talking about, how did this black coon originate? How did this black cracker originate among us? Who was the first black cracker? The first black cracker was the first black man to learn English and act like the cracker. He was the very first. There's no way he could hate his people because he's in whips and chains. He's being forced to do something not by his own will. That's the first black cracker, the one who began to act like the cracker. And then the evolution begins. And so, yeah, you can use the attribute any way you want now. You can say, well, the black cracker to me is that cooning ass Negro talking about his people. You know, we can name a few of those in popular. It's one cat named Jesse something. He's definitely a coon type, you know, that goes on all those news programs, and he always got something to say. You can say he's cooning and he's a black cracker because that's another evolution that you want to put on the word. But you can't take back the history. You can't erase the cracker in King James play, to where you can't erase the Georgia cracker. You can't erase the Florida cracker. These white folks called themselves that. Black folks wasn't calling them crackers. They was calling themselves that. So, you know, for your guy in the chat room, it's cool. You can evolve the word to mean whatever you want it to mean. But the fact remains that it's an evolution. Thus, my book is somewhat entitled The Evolution of the Black Cracker. So I'll definitely address the modern day terminology that the word is being applied to. But it's an attribute. It's a way of acting.
Well, let's just do a little scholarly work. Let's go to the etymology page. You go to the etymology dictionary, okay, and put that in there, and let's just deal with the etymology. I know people gonna do it themselves, so we could take a little time, hopefully, and just, if you willing to entertain it.
Yeah, this is cool. What you want me to put in there? I'm on it.
Cracker.
Cracker. Okay.
It'll give us the exact date from their records, when it was used, where it came from, how it was used, and what was the. So.
Okay, so now one of the things about the website, I don't know which one you're on, but mine is dictionary.com. I guess you said etymology dictionary, right? Let me go.
Yeah.
Okay, understand that if we're using a dictionary that is not an unabridged dictionary, it is not going to give us all the information. Only like an unabridged dictionary will give you complete information on the word. But a lot of these dictionaries are, you know, kind of condensed. So let's see, etymology online. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what you come up with. Okay. So you want to read it? What you looking for? Because what I found on the etymology dictionary.
I'm just saying, show your screen again and just show the people which one. And
okay, so this is a online etymology dictionary. So we
blow it up a little bit, please.
I'll blow it up and then I'll kind of slide my page. So it says cracker.
Yeah, if you pull, here you go, Pitt. If you could pull the sides of your screen all the way to the fullness of your screen, you can see it and keep it enlarged more because the sentence will show.
Okay, I got
from.
it. Hold on.
Nah, just pull the screen left to right and make it. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Is that cool? All right. So it says the cracker, the mid 15th century, hard wafer, but specific application to a thin, crisp biscuit in 1739. An agent, noun, from crack, cracker barrel, adjective, emblematic of down home ways and views, is from 1877. In the second version of the word, it's a southern U.S. derogatory term for poor white trash, 1766, probably an agent from the word crack, in the sense to boast, as not what it is cracked up to be. Latin, compare the Latin crepere, to rattle, crack, or creak, with the secondary figurative sense of boast or prattle or make ado about. So in that second verse, as it points out, is poor white trash. That's in conjunction with what Shakespeare is talking about in 1595. So, like I said, when you're dealing with dictionaries, if you're not dealing with an unabridged, it's not going to give you everything. It's going to condense it down. So here it's being referred to a wafer, which I spoke about, like the saltine cracker, and it's also being referred to poor white trash. So if we go back to what I initially said and show that that he was referring to the poor white trash, loud, boisterous type of person, to boast, as you see here in the sense, and as it says, in the sense to boast, right? To be a loud talker. So even here in the etymology dictionary is still, keeping up with the narrative which I showed. And, so in that sense, it's the same thing. And, you can search this word. So when you think of a black person, if you want to call them a black cracker, then you have to add that same attribute. Someone who is boastful, loud talking, same thing. But it's more talking about a characteristic than it is necessarily what he's actually saying. So you can say the black man who cooning against his people is a black cracker. But if his personality type is very intellectual and he's dropping some hard science and you could tell he don't have that loud, boisterous personality, then, in the fact of the matter, that wouldn't be considered a black cracker. But like we do, we just give attributes to things, and we don't really do no hard science about things we just come up with, cliches that we just adopt into our society, and thus we forget and we lose the meaning of how things became. That's the reason why I'm doing the research on the book, so that I could document everything where I find it. So, I'll have my primary documentation of things such as the play in King John. I'm going to try to find it before that and see if I could find this attribute being called the cracker before that time. But thus far, that was probably about as far back as something I could find. But I did find the terminology being used in other centuries, which I'll show in the book as things come along. So, and then it's also going to teach about various things we went through at that time period. So I'm going to get into, the book kind of delves into other matters as I deal with a certain time period of of the evolution. But to not understand that the hood behavior is the full evolution of the cracker. When you look at a white man and you say, "Oh, he pour white trash," how does he act? Is he not loud and boisterous and ghetto as hell? Of course. And so if you act like him, then by nature you're the black cracker. And that's just what it is. It doesn't even have to be derogatory. It's just being descriptive of a behavior. And, that's what it is.
Okay, well, I mean, I appreciate it. Hopefully the audience appreciate it. It give us a chance to hear that and to correct you. I called Sonetta a black cracker first on Khalil L's show. That's what got me kicked off that morning or that night. He kicked me off the show because I said, "Sonetta, you a black cracker."
Right.
And then come back and use the term on me. Everybody like to echo me.
Right. So I see somebody in the group, Shango or something, and his reply is, "The only one calling us black cracker is you, Pit Boss." And it's like, I'm not calling anybody a black cracker. I'm calling an attribute and describing it through people where I could show the personality type being used.
It's like Nelly Fuller said, you don't have to call somebody racist. You just describe it, give a description of it.
Right.
If they fit the description, then the term itself is automatically glued or pinned on them.
Right. So someone else said that that the dictionary we was using, this is Shot Caller Visual, he thinks that the online version of that etymology dictionary is unabridged. And I just showed in the play the word cracker coming from Shakespeare. Now, I don't, when I looked on that etymology, you didn't find that on the etymology. I wasn't able to find that play. You know how difficult it was for me to find cracker in the Shakespeare play? It's like only due to, let me show you. You see this? Well, let me share my screen real quick, right? So that they can understand, like, I'm going harder than Google and that type of shit in order to do this kind of work. Okay, this right here is called the Logos program, Carl, right? So I just go to the home page. Now, what this does is, if I take an article like what you see on the screen right now, and I click on that, it might take me to a particular web page. And what I noticed about this particular program is the page that it's taking me to. If I try to go in Google and type in the same page, I won't get access to it. Because what they're doing on the internet is some aspects of the internet is like paid sites, meaning that even Google won't just take you straight to the page by simply trying to type it in. You have to be subscribed to some other thing. Like this Logo program is like, it can run you thousands of dollars depending on how many books that you have installed in it and so forth. This program can keep going. You could be buying books for this. Like I have over 1,000 books inside this program. You feel me? So if I want to search my 1,000 books for something, I can come up here, Carl, and I can type in various things. Like here, I typed in King John. And then when I hit it, right, I get all kinds of information related to what I'm searching for. You see what I'm saying? So here is the search. Here's the search bar. So not only is it searching my books, it's also searching the internet if there's something on the internet related to what it is. And then I can go find an article or something. So I found a lot of things that I found was interesting. And then I tried to go back and see the same thing from Google, and I wasn't able to find it. But yet I was on the internet. I'm on some website, and I'm noticing like I'm on some Harvard College page. You feel what I'm saying? To where they kind of block access from just an easy Google search. Now there may be some way to get to it. Like I could share the link, give you the link, you can click on it and go straight to it because it's on the internet. But they're being crafty about how they navigate different types of people looking for information on the internet. And they actually have a paid service of the internet that if you're not involved in some sort of program where their search engine is doing a different type of search, you won't easily find some of this information that's out there. So, you know, that's something that if you don't have these kind of programs, you just won't ever know unless somebody points it out. So a lot of these people who are commenting, I understand how they feel, and I'm not sitting here necessarily going in on any individual. I'm trying to just explain what a black cracker is as far as the origination of the term and its evolution. So you know,
the one brother said he was agreeing with you that unabridged dictionary. That's all.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, then see, he understands. He understands what he's doing over there. And so my bad, shot caller visual. You're on point. But definitely, anybody who really want to get the definition of words and have like a real deep meaning, they need to go buy themselves an unabridged dictionary. And when you see one, you'll know it's unabridged because that shit will be 3 times as thick as the same dictionary that's abridged. And it's because they put everything in it, and thus you'll go back further with the understanding. But you know, modern time, most people don't need that much information. They just need the core definition of a word. And so most dictionaries are abridged. But you know, for a researcher, you have to be dealing with an unabridged if you're trying to deal with times and various ways of dealing with the word and trying to go back and get every meaning of the word. And therefore, you know, when people be thinking they're doing a Google search, you're not really doing it. They got us caught up on purpose that we can't attain everything that's really out there. And you know, if you just own a program like Logos or something similar to it, you'll understand when you go in there searching for stuff, and you do it all the time, and you see what's going on. Like I was amazed when I first got the program and I started doing things, and you know, I was popping up on pages, and then I would like call my partner up, Sharp Spirit, somebody, and say, "Hey man, go here," and then he would try to find it, and he couldn't find it. I would have to go grab it, drop him the link, and get him to the page. And then I noticed that, well, that's something that they're doing on the internet, and you know, we're not paying attention to it. We going with whatever pop up on the screen and thinking that that's all that's out there.
All right, well, I'll call it a day. I appreciate the presentation. You know, me and you talk about it in the private, so some of y'all don't, you know, that's the thing about having, you know, access to people and talking to them offline and stuff and talking about these things. You know, we share information, we share things, and you know, iron sharpening iron. So
okay,
you know,
before you end it, then Carl, I'm gonna just play this little clip. It don't have nothing to do too much. This is a clip of me back in the day a little bit. So you know, I just want to put a little more out there because you know me, I don't even like talking about all my stuff. You know what I'm saying? But let me see. That's the Black Cracker. Hold on, I got all type of shit. Oh my God, I erased it, Carl. Hold on. I just clicked on it. It erased it. Let me go back to my YouTube. And
go to the history and pull up the last thing you deleted.
There you go. Yeah, you was a master on this internet thing, ain't you, Carl? Okay. So
you coming through to show your support, but I'm also here with the owner of this spot where we had this amazing video where we pulling Cadillacs up in the middle of the floor. You filmed me. Introduce yourself.
My name is Tuesday. They call me the Digital Pit Boss. We out here chilling with J-Wells, you know what I mean? Just give them a little something, you know, we gonna pop the color around here. We trying to do this thing. I'm loving Chi-Chi. Everything is 100. it's all good business.
Yeah, we looking so fly right now. So how you feel about how everything went? It's been a very, very long day. We're finally wrapping up, and I still had to get you out here for an interview. So you're not done yet. So how you feeling about everything?
I feel pretty good. You know, it's like for us, it was a grand opening situation for Studio Park. We trying to bring to y'all an opportunity to film, edit, create, do your thing. We here in the city, ATL. Everything is 100. I can't believe I'm here, but I'm here.
Yeah, we here. We doing it real big. Now, where can I see you at, DJ?
ATL, you know, all over.
Yeah. So that's just a little something to show niggas like that clip is probably like back in 09, you know what I'm saying, where I had this facility called Studio Park. We were shooting movies, we was throwing parties, you know, every night of the week. I had Snoop Dogg Daddy in there shooting a video with my partner Jay Wells. He had put out an album called Digital Smoke with Corrupt. I had Corrupt in the building. I had all type of cats in the building. The particular facility, you know, in 1 year, I had 200 events, easy, with all kind of people in the city of ATL. So, you know, the type of work I done put in over the years, I mean, bro, you know, I done did my thing. That's all I can say. And, you know, at the time, YouTube wasn't no big thing at that time. So we wasn't really uploading the YouTube channels like that. Facebook wasn't even really that big. It was just kind of getting started. So a lot of the things I did, it was just in an era where there wasn't a YouTube type thing. But had I had a YouTube account at that time, Carl, you would have seen the whole industry flow through my building. You would have seen all the people that came and got their money on and did their economics and politics off some shit that I built. But, you know, I don't really be tripping. I just be humble with it, and I'm still smashing. But I could easily call these people up, go hang out with these people, and, you know, turn my attention to that. But, you know, that's just not what I'm into at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that over this internet, and it's kind of crazy because people act like you don't come from nowhere. You just was birthed last week.
Right.
Got legs and got up, started walking and started doing stuff, and it's like, oh, you new to the world. We don't know nothing about you. You know, I do the same thing. I'm like, there's pictures out there with me with Crucial, Do or Die, all the Chicago artists when I was messing with the music industry back then and stuff. And I still know these people to this day. Somehow or another we get an echo. I still know these people to this day. It's just that I'm not in Chicago and I'm not around them, and their 15 minutes of fame is kind of up. If you didn't know who they are then, you don't know who they are right now because they're not, you know, bumping in the music scene like that. But in their local areas, they're still, you know, considered icons and all of this. So, you know, some people got a chance to be around Khalib and around people that had the camera back then and stuff, but what they doing is kind of like Royale said, they showing you old footage and they saying what I used to be. Well, I know you to be this today. You might have been that yesteryear, but today that's like saying what would Malcolm X be if he was still around the day. You know what I'm saying? We seen Muhammad Ali when he was young, and we seen him right before he passed in the condition he was in. So what you used to be and what you used to do is not who you are today, unless you're steady doing the same regiment and the same thing. And me, myself, ain't no change. Since 10 years old, I made a promise to never change. So a lot of my, as you say, attributes and characteristics is of a 10-year-old that's just playing in a grown folks arena. Because I still watch my cartoons. I still do all my playing and stuff. The only thing I don't do that I used to do a lot of is video games. I don't play video games. That's the only thing I done left off from.
Well, you know, Carl, you and I met on a South Showtime type of forum where we were on the same forum. That's where we actually got an interaction. But prior to that, you know, we used to debate in the chat rooms. I was familiar with Carl Albert at the time. Like, you know, we was in the Amin Ra Squad chat room page. It was thousands back then. People really used to go harder in the chat rooms. So I was familiar with you. And then so after I met you on that platform, you know, I used to talk to you on the phone all the time, but I never was like trying to come on your channel. I just would call you, you know, talk to you because we was on that panel together and we switched information, and then I just kept up with you. So, you know, I learned a lot about you different than what you were actually doing on your channel, you know, speaking to you on the phone, just having personal conversations about various things, sharing. And I realized, oh, okay, this brother is way beyond just what the image he portraying on his channel, you know what I'm saying, to what I understood. That's why at the time when your fan base seen me come on your channel, it wasn't no, you know, I didn't feel like I need, you know, to come over here to get famous on channel. I had already been talking to you and I had got to know you. And then I just said, oh, I'll come on and talk about something with you. And, you know, I never really tripped off.
Everybody know me. I'm going to try to get you on the channel. I feel you're doing something, you shut the hell up and come on over here and let's talk about it. You know, ain't no use of talking on the phone for 2 hours. We could do it on the you can do it on the YouTube. That's how my blog talk thing started. I'm on a post with 300 things. It's like, man, blog talk is free. We could come over here and talk for 3 hours for free and deal with all this mess.
Right.
So, you know, that's my thing. If you know me, that's why I said all of y'all out there just talking in the chat and stuff. I mean, if you want to refute what the man say or give your analyzation of Black Cracker or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Don't be just typing in the box. Go make a video or say, Carl, I want to come over there and address that.
Yeah.
Have a healthy dialogue about the situation.
Carl, you know about this information even like at the beginning of this year. You ain't never heard me speak on it because this was just a segment that I was researching and I'm writing, and I wasn't really trying to put the information out there so heavy. But, you know, I'm further along with the book. I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to get into my book because I need to just focus and clarify my perspectives. But anybody who think just because they heard this and they're going to go do a quick search and think you're going to refute me, you better have a lot of knowledge because I've been working on this book a long time. And so my information is stacked up, and I done read through some serious material to even come up with this small perspective that I'm sharing. And like I say, I'm just sharing a little small glimpse. I can go way deeper than what I shared. But, you know, I just want them to have a little context of it. So, you know, if somebody disagrees with me, that's cool. And I would love to see you come on here and give a little, you know, expression of what you feel it is and then show us your information. And you know what I'm saying? And I'll be happy to sit back and listen to what they got to say.
Yeah. So that's what it is, people. We got to start having more healthy dialogue in the community. You know what I'm saying? Stop being black crackers. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see this you can see it in Roots, how the man that wanted Chicken George, you know, the old Roots and new Roots, but the new Roots is what I'm talking about. He wanted Chicken George, so he got the guy that had Chicken George, his father. He was a low-life cracker, low-life, poor, white trash. You know what I'm saying? And so he like, yeah, you got good fighting hens, and you got a good, you know, hen trainer. You know what I'm saying? I mean rooster. I'm saying hen, ain't it? It might have been hens too. You can fight both of them, but I think they fight roosters. So let me get that correct. So you know, he basically had the man that was upper class white echelon diss him like you're a poor trash, how you sitting at the table with me and stuff. And he like, I done fought hard and worked hard to get my money and stuff, and you gonna degrade me as a man. So as they even did, and what we won't do, they went and said, you know, take 10 steps, turn around, cock your gun, 3 shots, and shot at each other. Yeah, we gonna kill each other, but we gonna do it in a gentlemanly way. We're not gonna be barbarians and just go shooting and, you know, do drive-bys or ride by on our horses popping at each other. No, we're gonna stand in front of each other with our guns, 1 shot each, shoot, reload. Therefore, we just have a lot of shots to be shooting and firing all over the place. We're gonna put another bullet in here, reload, and after 3 shots, we're gonna see who living and who been hit and injured and stuff. And that way, you know, you handle your grievances like gentlemen, smack them with a glove. See, that's not the cracker way, you know. That's the upper way.
I gotta show the clip. From Trick Baby, man. This is a funny clip, but you know, it kind of somewhat dealing with what we're talking about. But let me play this for you real quick, man, because what goes down in this clip is heavy information.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake.
Oh yeah.
Or to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Oh, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
Oh, no, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Yeah, that was that's a good movie. That's Trick Baby from 1972. If anybody want to go check the whole movie out, I think it's on YouTube. That's just a little small clip of that scene.
Yeah. So with that said, y'all, hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. Hopefully y'all go do your research or whatever you want to do. And have more dialogue about it. But that's the thing, to set precedents over here. We set precedents over here. You know, a lot of stuff going on in the community, but you watch this channel and then watch the other people echo it or clone it. We setting precedents over here. We're not going for #1 spots. We're not even fighting and competing with others. They competing with us. Believe that. So peace to the chat and to Pit Boss.
Peace to the chat, Carl, and peace to yourself. I'm out, brother.
All right.